This is gonna be the most fucking weird tonal shift between videos ever, between season 1 and season 10 of Adventure Time. Uh, but yeah, season 1, I've finished season 1. I'm actually nearly finished season 2. I know, I'm literally rattling through this fucking series at the moment. Once you're done season 2, then it's season 3, and that's another batch of 26, and then season 4, and that's the final batch of 26 before, the monstrous season 5. Um, anyway, season 1, I found this to be probably the weakest season of the entire fucking series. You could definitely tell it was trying a lot of things to see what sticks, to try and find the Adventure Time formula, the groove, etc. I think it was a pretty weak season, to be honest. It's not as great as, say, Futurama's first season, or even the first season of SpongeBob, maybe even the first season of Regular Show. If we're just going to compare it to Cartoon Network first seasons, even Gumball's first season was, I think, a little bit better than Adventure Time's first season. But we'll get on with the episodes I didn't like, the episodes I liked, and the episodes I found alright. My favourite episode of this entire season was Ocean of Fear, the only writing credit by J.G. Quintel before he went on to make Regular Show. And the worst episode of the entire season was Donny. Just an absolute, I don't know, the character himself is an absolute prick, so why not? Donny just was a terrible episode. It was god awful. But the episodes I didn't like: Ricardo the Heart Guy, Wizard, City of Thieves, The Witch's Garden, Dungeon Donny, and Gut Grinder, which is the season 1 finale. Ricardo the Heart Guy was just, he's a shit villain for one. He's just basically Ice King's heart who just wants to make out with Bubblegum's heart. Wizard, it's just Finn and Jake wanting to be wizards. Jake gives up. Finn stays on and has to stop a meteor from crashing. City of Thieves, a lesson in stop stealing shit, and in the end the moral is broken at the end with Penny just stealing Finn's clothes. So really the episode's main subject doesn't mean jack shit. The Witch's Garden, an episode where Jake eats, quite a popular episode of the show actually, where Jake eats the witch's donut, and the witch just strips Jake of his powers, and Jake becomes quite content with the fact that he doesn't have powers until Finn is desperate for a hero, so Jake has to go back and does these degrading acts, and eventually, through just being a cunt that he is, at times a lovable cunt that he is, manages to get his powers back. So yeah, a bit harsh to put on the dislike category, but I really just didn't like it too much. It was just, I don't know, it just started the whole trend of Jake just being this kind of douchebag, jerk personality trait that he's always had in the series, but he's usually a lovable arsehole in a way. Dungeon, which was the 18th episode of the show, just a generic dungeon-centered episode. Didn't really go anywhere with it. I just found it pretty boring, and in the end, Princess Bubblegum saves them. But she's absolutely pissed off with them. Donny, again, I've already mentioned Donny. Just a terrible episode. And Gut Grinder, which was the season finale, it's basically just saying that it's basically Jake trying to prove his innocence for being mistaken as the Gut Grinder. Just a pretty weak. It really didn't feel like a season 1 finale at all. It didn't feel like a season finale. at all. I was expecting maybe something big, maybe a little bit of world building, maybe explain something. But I guess that's what the next couple of seasons are there for. This was mostly comedy first. Let's kind of ape a little bit of SpongeBob. Let's obviously um, take a lot of influence from Flapjack, which is obviously what Pendleton Ward worked on prior to making Adventure Time. Same with J.G. Quintel, actually. He worked on Flapjack. Decent episodes. The premiere, Slumber Party Panic, in which was just the zombie episode. Pretty decent premiere, but it wasn't the best season premiere. I think regular show season 1 premiere, The Power, or even Futurama's Space Pilot 3000 was far better than this premiere. But hey, not every season premiere. The season premiere is always going to be the weakest episode in probably any series. So for what it was okay. Tree Trunks, which introduces the aforementioned character herself, Tree Trunks, in which she eats the apple and gets transported into this crystal dimension, which was pretty good, pretty fun, pretty funny episode as well. Nice introduction for Tree Trunks. The Jiggler, which is quite frankly a disgusting episode, where they introduce a baby Jiggler who likes Finn and Jake's whistling and whistles along. Business Time, in which Finn and Jake become lazy and they employ these businessmen to do their work for them. Memories of Boom Boom Mountain, which was the episode in which Finn has to go around saving everyone and solving everyone's problem, including a mountain who is crying from a game called Boom Boom. What is Life? Very philosophical title. Very philosophical title. This is actually the episode in which introduces Nectar, never-ending pie throwing robot. And basically, it's a conflict torn for Nectar. Does he want to join his father, the Ice King, and steal loads of princesses, or does he want to just prank Jake with Finn? In the end, he does end up pranking Jake with Finn. So yeah, pretty good introduction for Nectar, who for most part of the series just ends up getting forgotten about. He's just kind of there, you know. But he does make a nice little joke into the in the season 10 finale. When Wedding Bells 4 is just a stereotypical Ice King episode. He steals some princess with an engagement ring that hypnotizes and manipulates a princess into marrying him, and in the end Finn and Jake stop that from happening. The Duke, in which the Duke of Nuts has a raging chocolate disorder, basically just loves eating chocolate pudding. This of course causes Princess Bubblegum to get absolutely pissed off, and in the end Finn accidentally alters and destroys Princess Bubblegum's pink appearance into a green cucumbery appearance and bald. And in the end, it really starts off a quite shitty character trait for Princess Bubblegum, being this kind of tyrannical, creepy princess that would get more explored in the Cooler, in which she literally stalks on everyone through these cameras, which is fucking creepy, if you couldn't tell. And then the final episode put into the decent category was His Hero, in which introduces Billy, in which they basically try and solve problems non-violently, but they end up giving up because they can't do it, so they end up just solving the problems with violence. In the liked category was the second episode. The fun fact, this was actually the episode I gave up on originally when I first started to try and get into Adventure Time, Trouble in Lumpy Space. I really liked Lumpy Space. I really liked seeing the world. I liked seeing the characters, even though we didn't get to see much of Lumpy Space Princess's parents, the king and queen of Lumpy Space. I quite liked it, and I loved seeing Finn and Jake just transform into lumpy space princesses characteristics. So it was fucking great episode. Prisoners of Love, which is the first episode in which Pendleton Ward actually wrote, is your stereotypical Ice King episode. He steals a handful of princesses, including Raggedy Princess, Berry Princess, Slime Princess, Ghost Princess, and he basically just wants to marry one, so he's got loads of them. Finn ends up saving the day, and of course it has a fun gag with Slime Princess making advances towards Finn, but Jake says that Finn pisses himself loads of times at the thought of female affection, so Slime Princess is creeped out, which is kind of funny because she's fucking made out of slime. The Enchiridion, which is actually supposed to be the series premiere according to the production codes. This introduces the book that would pretty much become a main staple of the Adventure Time series and lore, the Enchiridion, in which Finn and Jake go on a mad quest to get the aforementioned book. My two favourite people, which introduces Lady Rainicorn to the series and as Jake's girlfriend. It's not really explored as to how they first met or how they found love yet. I'm sure it's explored later in the series, but it just explains Finn bonding with Lady Rainicorn in a friendship way. Jake's getting jealous, so he brings in Tiffany, who would come around here and there throughout the show, and it was just a pretty decent episode. I did like the gag with the voice changing, with the voice gag with Lady Rainicorn speaking in English. However, it was through an old man, so yeah, pretty fun. Evicted, which has a fucking nice song sung by Pendleton Ward himself, aided with Olivia Olson for Marceline the Vampire Queen, her debut episode, in which she kicks Finn and Jake out the house, and Finn and Jake ends up getting kicked out of this cavern, and Finn gets into a fight with Marceline, which Marceline loves, and it forms a friendship right there and then with Marceline, the Vampire Queen. Ocean of Fear, my favourite episode of this entire season, the only writing credit for J.G. Quintel before he went on to write, to create rather regular show for Cartoon Network, another big hit for Cartoon Network, along with Gumball the next year in 2011. Fucking brilliant episode in which Finn has to conquer his fear of the water, and it also has Mark Hamill as this fear manifest of Joker, Luke Skywalker, and Skip's fame in regular show, of course. Fucking amazing episode, really good, and I loved seeing the civilization of what's underneath the ocean. It was amazing, and Finn conquering his fear, so it was amazing. Freak City, in which introduces Magic Man, later Normal Man, later King Man. He's basically a prick throughout this entire episode. He transforms Finn into a foot, and he becomes a freak and outcast, and eventually they all gang up on Magic Man and beat the shit out of him, and they all get their normal bodies back. Rainy Day Daydream is the Daydream episode, in which is very similar to the Futurama episode, where Mom ends up taking Bender's personality chip, in which Bender pretty much can only emote in "I am Bender, please insert girder." It's basically that, but with Jake, and it's kind of a fun coincidence being that John DiMaggio, who's best known for Bender, voices Jake and does the same episode here, so it's really fucking good. And What Have You Done, which is the plague episode in which the Ice King has plagued the Candy Kingdom, and in the end, through the power of his screams, saves the Candy Kingdom. So yeah, that was a really fucking good episode. So yeah, season 1, not the best. You can definitely tell it focused a lot more on comedy than expanding the lore and just going on these amazing episode ideas and really kind of Steven Universe-esque inspiration. But I thought it was okay. It was a good. It was an okay first season. You know, it's a bit like watching your baby grow. Eventually, it will blossom into this beautiful creature.